I've really enjoyed my time with the MCU post Endgame. I've loved most of the stuff that they've dropped. Secret Invasion has was like total ass juice, but the reputation of this franchise has been on life support for a little while now. Marvel fans and the general audiences are seeming to lose interest in the franchise overall. We've seen the movies get like really mixed or terrible reactions. The box office is tanking, and there are many fans screaming at Marvel and Disney to bring that old feel back, to bring some of that old school MCU back. And I think the Thunderbolts may be the answer. I think that it combines what Phase 3 did, that run of films that people loved and made $1 billion each, with some of the big swings that Phase 4 and 5 has been trying to do. Is it a cohesive package overall? Let's talk about it. Let's set this straight. The first three phases of the MCU were about broken characters. A lot of them with like muddled morality, trying to find community amongst people that understand either the trauma or the emotional damage they've gone through, trying to build community amongst each other for the greater good. And with the Thunderbolts, it feels very Avengers like, especially like Avengers 1, with a bunch of lost characters who are trying to live their life and do different things coming together and kind of trauma dumping on each other while they're trying to save the world. But what's different here is that these characters are on the edges of darkness, where I feel like the original Avengers, for the most part, were trying to be superheroes on their own. These guys are assassins and guns for hire. That lifestyle is not enough for them. These group of characters are dealing with serious PTSD, a lot of loneliness, dealing with grief, guilt, and a whole bunch of long lists of different emotional damages and traumas that they've gone throughout their life. Some of them that we've seen in phase 4 and 5, some things that have happened in the past before we even known the character. And these are not things that are brand new to the MCU or things that we've never seen before. We've seen Tony Stark deal with PTSD in Iron Man 3 and Thor deal with loneliness and people not understanding him in Avengers Infinity War and Doctor Strange in his own movie. But we've never seen it in a way where it's tackled and is in the forefront in a group film like this. The characters bonding over their past traumas and trying to uplift each other made their chemistry very endearing and made each character feel individually relatable and likable. Even John Walker, someone who from Falcon and Winter Soldier, they explored his character really well, but I came from that show that he was an a-hole. And I think that he's a little bit less of an a-hole in this movie. Pit against each other to take each other out. Once these characters find out the truth, they join together to take out the person who set them up and stop their master plan. Red Guardian, Yelena, the new Black Widow, hasn't called herself that, but she's basically the new Black Widow. John Walker, Ava, who's Ghost, and Bob. And the heart of the movie is Yelena, played by the phenomenal Florence Pugh. I've always thought that she was one of the best up and coming actresses since I saw her in Midsummer or Little Women or any role that she plays, she nails it. But this movie solidifies her as a movie star. Yelena's struggle is so endearing and heart tugging in this film as she's lost through life, not feeling fulfilled, struggling with Natasha's death and not knowing how to handle it and feeling so alone. Florence Pugh nails everything she has to do in this film in terms of exploring those emotions and what the script gave her to do. And obviously, she brought her signature grimace frown that she does in all her movies that can make a grown man feel the feels.
Emotional damage.
And I feel like Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow was the glue that held the Avengers together a lot of times in a lot of their movies. And I think Florence Pugh steps right into that role perfectly. The baton was passed to the correct person. Not only is her chemistry with everybody in this film that what holds it together, her chemistry with Bob really makes the movie. Played by Lewis Pullman, Bob is the soul of the film. A character whose true identity is shrouded in mystery throughout the film. He encompasses so many themes of this movie. Dealing with his inner demons after being thrown away like trash instead of a human being, he lacks confidence and a will to live, and the way those things manifest through the performance and the way it does visually on screen is very, very engaging, but also terrifying. It makes him a very interesting protagonist, but a very dangerous antagonist. And Lewis Pullman plays Bob really, really well. The naivety and the soft outlook that he displays makes him a character that you easily just want to hug and hold and tell him that it's going to be okay, because he seems like such a person that was just not treated well throughout life and he just needs someone to show him true love. And that's a lot of the themes that in this film, where each of these characters just needed someone to properly love them for them to be on a better track. But when the character, manifests this darker side, Pullman also executes that really well and is very scary. While the movie dwells into some darker topics, don't worry, the movie still brings the MCU Marvel fun that you come to the theater to see. The action is very solid and fun, even though most of it is shown in the trailers. The banter amongst the Thunderbolts is very, very amusing, especially when David Harbour's Red Guardian shows up. He is hilarious throughout. And the movies put the characters in different positions to work together to try to build their bonds. That is just really, really entertaining to see. Especially the part in the trailer that's teased of them being stuck in that facility, them trying to make their way out of all that was really, really fun to watch. And the sequences were really engaging and made you attach to these characters individually, but also as a group. Wanted to see them come together. The main hook of this film and the main part of it that is worth watching is seeing these characters go from trying to kill each other, and that sequence was really, really dope. The choreography in that action sequence of them trying to kill each other was some of the best the MCU's done so far. But also as they grow together and try to like love each other as like a thrown together family. Not like the Guardians of the Galaxy where those people feel like brother and sisters. This feels like a bunch of distant cousins coming for a family reunion and going, I don't really like you, but we're family. Not exaggerating to say that movies in Phase 4 and 5 had some production issues. From the floating head in Love and Thunder to the terrifying, I don't understand why they did this, MODOK in Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumanium to whatever the hell this is.
Pineapples, bitch. That's it. Get up. No. Not today.
This movie's a return to form. It's really well made with beautiful cinematography, great VFX, and a really good, solid score. I'm very relieved and nice to report to all you that this movie just looks really good. It's really solidly built. It's nice to not have to be like, this movie's really fun and it's good and I like the characters and everything, but the VFX are really, really strong here. There was nothing in here that I felt was wonky at any time. And what really helped is that there's not a lot of green screen use. It feels like a lot of practical use of buildings and environments, and a callback to Avengers 1 is done in here, where it feels like familiar but fresh at the same time. And there's a really cool VFX moment in this film with the antagonist and the villain of the movie that I haven't seen in any big budget film before. And that effect comes in the third act, and that's where this movie sets itself apart, not only from other MCU films, but other big blockbuster films overall. The movie feels like it's going to be an Avengers 1 retread, but the movie takes examples from Phase 4 and 5 and takes a big swing that I think primarily works throughout. All the mature themes that they were tackling throughout the film come to a head, and I think that the movie felt a lot more intimate and smaller than I expected it to, and it felt more like a big budget A24 film versus like a big budget MCU slop fest. So those moments during the third act really made the movie for me and made this one of the special entries into the MCU. And while I was really, really entertained and really engaged with the plot and the way the themes were being played out, and the action was really, really fun, and I really love seeing these characters together. Unfortunately, the movie does have some very noticeable issues that brings it down a peg. So even though this film is an ensemble film, the film focuses so much on Yelena and Bob, a lot of the other characters in the film feel undercut and underused. We all knew based on the way the trailers have gone and the press tour that Taskmaster was going to be thrown to the wayside. And that's exactly what happened. And the way the character is treated rubs you the wrong way. It almost felt like, why put the character in the movie instead of just forgetting the character? And then on top of that, I felt like Marvel gave in to the wrong side of the fandom, the more toxic side of the fandom, by making the choice that they did with the character. So that was really, really disappointing to see. The character Ghost returning from Ant-Man and the Wasp, the first one, I think that the character had some really interesting parts in it. She was very, very sassy, and I really like the effects on her powers. But since we haven't seen her since Phase 3, I feel like the character needed a lot of backstory to catch up to what was going on and for us to really attach to her as an individual. And the movie, unfortunately, just did not do that. And John Walker, who's the U.S. agent, is a character that we've seen recently but there's been so much time between Falcon and the Winter Soldier and this movie that I feel like they needed to do more for his redemption arc that I feel like they were setting up to really set it up really well to see why he's in this depressive state and also to execute in a way reason why we should love him all of a sudden. I think that while he's not as a big of an a-hole as he felt like he was in the Falcon and Winter Soldier, I don't think they did enough to really get him out of there. I don't know if that's intentional and there's going to be like a twist and turn later on other MCU films, but I felt like he was shortchanged in this particular movie. And while Red Guardian is really, really funny throughout and Bucky is a badass in the movie, had like a real good Terminator action sequence in this that I love and reminded me of Captain America Winter Soldier, they're also very shortcut in their emotional attachment and journeys in the film. It's not really get a chance to like it being explored, which felt really disappointing to me. The movie toes the line between pre and post endgame style storytelling that Marvel has been doing, and while it's trying to execute both, it never commits to anything. It's focused so much on the emotional aspects of the character that you never really get the MCU fun and comedy all the way that you would want to make it like super stand out. And while it does focus on some of the MCU comedy and action, it never really commits to the unique voice and style that the movie was executing that would have made this movie stand out completely from what the MCU has done before. It's straddling that line, hinder both sides. So while the film does feel cohesive, it feels like each of those parts were battling with each other for supremacy. And one part did win at the end, but I felt like if they would have committed to that throughout the movie, this movie would have been elevated a bit more. Because we've seen films like this before outside of the superhero genre, where it's a bunch of, I don't want to say losers, but down on the luck characters that have some trouble passes or trouble presents, come together on a mission and reluctantly work together. But because of the bonds that they build and the struggles that they work through together, they come on the other side better people and ready to tackle some of the things that's going on in their personal life. And a lot of that does happen in this movie, but usually in those kind of movies, we get to see those characters split off and go into their personal lives and start to fix the things that are going on in their lives. This movie never really gets there, which I feel like it makes the themes and the things that they're trying to do feel a little bit more surface level and deeper than it could have been. I mostly blame this on the shortened runtime. One thing I've noticed in Phase 4 and 5 that these movies have been really, really short, like just over 2 hours or under 2 hours, not giving enough time for everything for the movie to breathe. And that's very, very apparent in this film, which is just over 2 hours. I think it's like 2 hours and 6 minutes. This movie had 20 minutes longer to kind of stretch out some of the action sequences and give each supporting character or each character ensemble the time that it deserved, especially in that third act sequence that was so unique. This movie would have been an all-timer for me. Despite its faults, this is still a great entry into the MCU and a fun blockbuster to go check out in the theaters. I think the Thunderbolts does a great job of exploring themes that are really, really important and relevant to today, especially in the day of technology where a lot of people are depressed and feeling lonely. I think seeing that in superhero characters and kind of figuring out how to move in those spaces, I think is really, really important for adults and kids to see. And I'm glad that the movie pulled that off because I really love these characters. I want to see them move forward. This felt like an Avenger level kind of film in a way, but way more intimate than we usually get in an Avenger film. And what's great is not facing a lot of the pitfalls that a lot of these MCU films have been getting recently with VFX and production value issues or controversies that have made the film have like outside things that affect it greater than what's going on in the story itself. So with that said, I'm going to say that Thunderbolts is going to get a B. What do you think of Thunderbolts? What do you think about the important aspects of the ending of the film that's setting up so many cool things moving forward in the MCU? And the question of the day is, what is your favorite post-Endgame film? Drop all your comments down below and let me know. And you can watch all my content right now.